Hey there. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Richard. I'm in the home stretch of my 50s, and I've been married to my very best friend for over 37 years now. Additionally, I am the grateful father of four grown children. For nearly 40 years now, vocational ministry has been the thread that's woven its way throughout my life. My education, from bachelor's degree to earning a master's degree, and the majority of my work experience is all centered around that calling. It's shaped who I am in more ways than I can count. Now, I've had the privilege of serving in different roles and in many different places, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. But life doesn't always stay on the script as it's written. My new normal has reminded me that God is not finished with me. In many ways, it feels like He's rebooting my story, not erasing the past, but preparing me for whatever comes next. I'll be honest, this past year has been one of the most challenging seasons of my life. I've had 2.5 major surgeries, and it's changed more than my health. It's changed my perspective. It's forced me to slow down, rethink some things, begin reimagining what the next season of life might look like. How about you? When you find yourself at the end of a chapter, does that mean that the story ends? Or is it the opening scene of a much greater adventure? Now, this is not my first time as an adult that I've needed to rewrite my narrative. About 7 years ago, I became convinced that I needed to move back to my hometown to care for my mom. Now, I'll be honest, that wasn't easy. It was a hard decision because I had a job I loved and a dear community of friends. Why would I walk away from all of that to be caretaker? Because that wasn't the story I wanted to write. I've discovered that life becomes pretty one dimensional when the main character is on every page. See, the best stories aren't built around self preservation or personal comfort, they're shaped by sacrifice, obedience. Besides, I don't really believe that I'm the central figure in this story anyway. At most, I'm just an extra in the background, and I don't even have any lines. The hero has always been God. He's the one writing my story, and He's writing yours. And my greatest joy is simply getting to play the part that He has given me. Since the surgeries, I've had to learn to live at a different pace. Things that once came very naturally to me now are more difficult, take more effort. I have become well acquainted with afternoon naps. And there are days that keeping my mind focused on one thing is much harder than I'd like to admit. So that brings me to the rewrite of my story. I haven't won the lottery, nor have I inherited a fortune from a long lost uncle. But I have been given a fair amount of faith, trust, and grace. And I intend to make the most of it. Over the last couple of years, I've fallen in love with woodworking. My hope is to turn that into an income stream that allows me to work when my energy is at its best. I'll continue serving my church just in a scaled down capacity. And lastly, I'm hoping to make some connections with you through this medium. One thing I know about myself is that creativity will always be a part of my life, whether that's music or woodworking or backyard farming or photography. As a matter of fact, recently I picked up a camera so that I can take real photos again instead of just pulling out my iPhone. See, you and I were made to create. That's a part of who God made us to be. My physical limitations don't signal the final act. The next act is going to look a little different. Maybe yours will as well. So let me ask you something. What's keeping you stuck? Is it fear or failure, comfort, risk, finances? What if you and I quit spending so much time looking at what we can't do and started paying attention to what we can? There's a quote from the Bible that's been a huge help to me. Mercies begin afresh each morning. Every morning. What if we really believe that? What if instead of trying to live on yesterday's strength or allowing yesterday's failures to overwhelm today's possibilities, we simply gave ourselves over to what has been placed in front of us for today? I know none of this comes from me. It's grace. Grace for today. I can't live on yesterday's grace and I can't borrow from tomorrow's. I can only receive the grace that has been given for this day and be faithful to what's right in front of me. And maybe that's enough. So, no, life's not over. The story isn't finished. There's still something to build, there's something to create, there's someone to love, someone to serve. So, embrace the grace that you've been given for today. And if you'd like, come along with me on this journey. Know I'm praying for you.